A lot of you guys are really happy that I'm giving Dominic a sibling because you guys, some of you guys are only children and you like, I grew up bored. I played with rocks by myself. And that made me think, like, do I want Dominic to play with rocks by himself? Because even if he has a sister, they can play with rocks together, you know? It's always fun playing with somebody else, even if you're just pushing sand to the side. Like, would you want to push sand by yourself? I mean, don't get me wrong, some of y'all might love being only children, but I have not got that vibe from my subscribers.
So I am just trying to fight down emotions right now. Like, it's, yeah. So I was watching Domo's video, and one of the comments was freaking devastating. Michaela XOXO said that she was an only child, and part of me just broke. It's common that the next question people ask you after you have a baby is, when are you gonna have another one? And we were not the exception to that. My husband and I always talked about having 2 kids, and we always pictured having a little girl and then potentially having another little girl or a little boy. But after what we went through, part of me just felt so relieved after I had my daughter. And sometimes I think we just don't want to feel ungrateful, which is just, I feel like it's not fair that people like us who go through infertility, who experience issues conceiving, feel like God made me wait so long for the first time. I don't want to seem ungrateful by asking for more than I deserve. I prayed so hard, you know, that, if God would just bless us one time, that I would, hold on. There were so many nights where I'd be up late like this by myself, and I'd just be, I'd be saying, you know, I won't mind getting up late. I won't ever complain about my baby waking up and needing a diaper change. If you just bless me, I promise I won't complain. If you give us one, I promise that I won't ask for anything else. I won't ask for any more. I went into, I guess, just feeling like my prayer was answered, and, you know, don't pray for things you don't mean, you know. And I prayed that if God gave us one, I wouldn't ask for any more. You know what I mean? But I'm also content. I tell a lot of people this. I am very content being a mom of one. I'm very, very nervous about being a mother to 2 kids. My daughter is such a wildflower. Like, anybody who knows us knows that she is so full of energy all the time. She's very outgoing. She's very inquisitive, and those are all of the things that make her so beautiful in my eyes, because she's so much like me. She looks exactly like me. Like, and I'm like, okay, it's annoying for me, really, but at the same time, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's my little mini me. She's everything I prayed for. So it's just, I love being her mom. Like, I can't picture being a mom to another child. And people keep telling me, you know, wait till she gets older. Like, right now, like with what you guys went through, it's too soon. Like, obviously you're not gonna want another one that soon. So I told myself, you know, I'll I'll postpone, you know, having a second child. Like, we're still young. I'm like, we still have time. So in the meantime, why don't I do what I feel called to do, which is to help somebody else have a baby. Ended up helping them have 2 babies, but I figured that would also give me some time to figure out, you know, if this is just a temporary feeling of me just wanting to be a mom of one, or if I'm being driven by those feelings of not wanting to seem ungrateful, because I'm a very spiritual person and I don't want it to seem like I'm not thankful for the one blessing I was given. Reading that comment, it crushed me, because that's exactly what I go back and forth on. I tell everyone, like, I don't want to seem as though I am having another child just for the sake of Lindea having a sibling. I feel like there is nothing more painful, there is nothing that sets you up for failure more than knowing that your parents didn't want you. One of the things that I loved hearing growing up, you know, during my birthday, my mom always told me my birth story. She would always wake us up in the night and tell us about, you know, how she went into labor with us, how excited she was to meet us. And one of the things that I loved about my birth story was that when she got pregnant with me, she was ready for me. She literally went to my dad and said, I want a baby. I'm ready to be a mom. I want a baby. And if there's something about being wanted that is just so, I don't know, like, you get what I'm trying to say though, right? It's just, no child wants to hear from their parent that they weren't wanted. And I never want any child that comes from me to feel like that, whether they're surrogate children or children of my own. I want to make sure that they're going, you know, if they're surrogate babies, that they are, I've vetted those parents well to where those babies feel wanted and loved for their entire lives. And with Lindea, I've documented so many things just so that if anything ever happened to me, I don't want her to feel like I left her behind. Of course, we know that we'll be together when Jesus comes again, and I make sure to teach her that even at a young age. But I don't want her to feel like her mom didn't want her, or I just want her to know how much she was loved before she even existed. I'm going down again. I don't want my daughter to grow up by herself. Like, I seen my sister's kids together, and like, I want that for her. Like, she would be such a great big sister. I really, really want that for her. But I'm just not, I don't feel it. Like, I'm so torn. Like, I cannot even explain to you guys. I'm going through so many emotions having read that comment. Like, someone help me work through this, because I want more than anything for my daughter to have a sibling. But the reason that I'm feeling this way is because I don't want her to grow up alone. Like, I'm the oldest of 5, and as much as I complain about my siblings and as much as we fight from time to time, like, when we're together, it's live. Like, I would not trade any of them for anything in the world. Like, I love my family. I love my brothers and sisters. And yes, I've had to sacrifice things for them, you know, being the oldest of the set of kids that were raised together, because that's a whole nother story about how many siblings I actually have. But I did have to sacrifice things, and I did have to, you know, put some of the things that I wanted to the side to help take care of my younger siblings, since, you know, the youngest one is almost 13 years younger than me. Watching us all grow up and knowing what we've had to go through as a family, it just makes us that much closer. And I can't imagine ever depriving her of that. And I can't imagine her ever coming back to me and telling me, geez, sorry. That was funny. I can't imagine her ever coming back to me and saying, Mommy, I was so lonely. I picked up rocks by myself. And sometimes I look at her playing on the floor And I do my best. I do my very best to keep her engaged and make sure she can interact with me, but there's nothing like interacting with another child, interacting with another sibling. And sometimes she's down there playing with her blocks and or doing a puzzle or reading a book to herself. Or sometimes she'll pick up her baby doll and she will read to it. The other day I told my mom, she came home from visiting my parents, and after a few minutes in the room, she went to her basket and she picked up her baby doll when she saw her laying there in her toy basket, and she said, "Hi, baby." And she hugged her tight and she said, "Oh, baby, I missed you." Like, you know how I say to her, you know how the phrase I use with her, she used it on her baby doll. Sorry, I'm like a mess, you guys. Sorry. Like, how awesome would it be for her to come home? You know, after she has her big girl visit with her grandparents or sleepovers with friends, she can come home to say to her sibling, "Oh, I missed you." And I'm like, I don't feel like this often, where I'm just in a state of being confused. But I have to say that comment, like, "Oh gosh, Michaela, you crushed me." I don't want my daughter to ever feel like that. And at this point, I'm not sure where to go. I'm not sure where life will take us. My heart, God forbid I actually start wanting a second child, you know? God forbid I start feeling that again, that longing, the longing to be a mom to a second child. God forbid I start feeling that again, because God knows, man, God knows I can't do it again. It was hard. It was really hard. So, if you've followed my Instagram since we were trying with Linda and stuff like that, you know we never started the process of trying to fix, or we never got any further with figuring out exactly what the extent of our fertility is or could be. Medical doctors say one thing, God says something else. My daughter is literal proof of that. Anyway, I don't know if any other moms ever feel like that, like you're okay with just having one child, but then you go through this back and forth pull on your heart whether or not you should just have one kid or if you should give your child a sibling. And the thing is, most of the people that I know who were only children or the parents of only children, they regret not having a second child. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if we will ever have another baby. Part of me doesn't want to disappoint my husband either, because he so wants another one eventually. He's okay with waiting until I want one, because I waited for him to get to that place when we were ready to try for our first daughter, our first baby. So he is giving me that same courtesy in letting me figure out, you know, when I'm ready. But I guess we'll just have to see where it goes. Anyway, I just thought I would share my thought on that, because maybe there are other moms out there who are experiencing that as well. Maybe you can, or maybe you did experience it before, and you can just give me some encouragement when it comes to trying to figure out what happens next. So anyway, yeah, please make sure to leave your comments below and subscribe to the channel. Until the next video, stay blessed.